Well, a move back into phase 2 could see plenty of frustration and lost income, but one of Spokane's largest local events could also be at risk if the rollback does in fact happen. KREM 2's Joshua Robinson joins us tonight with more on the future of the Pacific Northwest Qualifier.
Yeah, it's a larger local event than Bloomsday or Hoop Fest. The Pacific Northwest Qualifier welcomes thousands of volleyball players and their families into the Inland Northwest each year. But this year's rescheduled tournament falls in May, just a few weeks from now, and right in the middle of that potential rollback to phase 2.
You're talking about hundreds of teams that are coming from Texas and Hawaii and Alaska and Arizona and Florida.
As both a club director for Club South Volleyball and a mom of her own U15 player, Michelle Odie is already feeling the struggle of Spokane possibly moving back into phase 2 next week. Another year lost for the Pacific Northwest Qualifier volleyball tournament.
And with the limitations of, only so many players on a court at a time, and these kids being masked here in Washington the whole time, it was like their final hurrah. So it's very devastating.
2021 could represent the second year in a row that the P&Q tournament is canceled. Back in 2019, Visit Spokane estimated the event brings in about $12 million in local income. KREM 2 reached out to April Stark, whose family runs the tournament, and she tells us, quote, "The timing for this could not be worse. Our hopes are that there may be some updates to youth sports guidelines, and if so, hopefully that would still allow us to host the event." She goes on to say that the hardest part is seeing other tournaments 5 times as large as us being allowed to take place, and it's frustrating. This year, every other qualifier has been back except us. It will truly break my heart if that happens to us again in May. If this year's Pacific Northwest Qualifier is called off, Stark tells us there could be long-lasting consequences to the tournament, including a loss of participation from teams in the future. But Odie says she sees another long-lasting impact in the mental health of Spokane's youth and what this year has done to them.
It's been rough. I mean, emotional, mentally, to the point where I think even some of our athletes have kind of lost the touch and the love of the game, I guess I would say, because of so many frustrations across the board.
I asked Odie what kinds of opportunities there might be to reschedule the event, maybe make some new plans for the thousands of people who have travel arrangements up in the air right now. She says right now she doesn't know what comes next, but she does expect some kind of guidance to come out or a conversation to take place early next week. In the newsroom, Joshua Robinson, KREM 2 News.